was the area director at that point in time, distinguished Toastmaster Nikhil Rao. That morning he messaged me and then he said, Arjun, can you come in early for the meeting? I was like, okay, I'm giving my speech today. Does he really want to listen to me give the speech? I did not know. He said, no, area contest is happening. You come over, it is going to be fun. That was humorous speech contest and evaluation contest. And that's the first ever contest that I was a part of. That day, what he did was he just made me sit at the door and he's like, dude, you're the sergeant at arms. You take care of the people who are going to enter the hall and exit the hall during the contest. I had no clue what a sergeant at arms is. The only thing that I had seen is the sergeant at arms introduction when he opens the meeting. That's the only thing. But for that, he told this is the role that you have to do and take care of the people going in and coming out. And during the evaluation contest, you just have to keep the mobile phones with you. I did that. The very next in the very next contest season, what happened was I was the contest chair. I did not want to participate. I was like very scared to participate at that point in time, and moreover, I had not done the qualified number of speeches for the international speech contest. So I took up the role of the contest chair, and that is how my love for contests began. So from that day till today, contests has been something that is very close to my heart because I'm very special to me when it comes to organizing a contest. A lot of times we tend to miss out on few things just because I repeat, we may not understand the way things are supposed to be understood. So having said that, what I'm going to request from you today is to have an open ear and think about what really happens during a contest if you have been in one. If not, just sit back, listen to every single aspect that is being told, and then go about, you know, analyzing what is given, the information that is given to you, and understanding and assimilating the information as well. And this is what is going to lay the foundation for each and every one of you to take back home when you are organizing a contest, or when you're volunteering into a role for a contest, or even when you are contesting as a participant to win the international speech contest or the tall tale contest at the district level. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to share the screen with the presentation right now. Let's go ahead. During the business session, it was confirmed that every single district around the world is going to conduct contests online, and this specific training is pretty much about the contest management, and everything is online. If you want to know about the contests to be conducted offline, we will have a separate presentation made for that as well. It's pretty much similar except for the online tools that we are going to use. And that information in which way would be made available in the district website, not immediately, probably by the end of the month as far as I can think of. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead with the contest management online itself. Now, first and the foremost thing is what we need to understand as Toastmasters is why the contests are there in the Toastmasters fraternity itself. Number one is to provide an opportunity for every single member to gain some experience because of the learning. That is number one. The second and the most important aspect in my opinion is that we observe and learn a lot as members. We observe speakers, and that's one of the main reasons why we have contests as well. We observe contestants and gather their experience. And the simple rule of thumb over here is that every single aspect that is told in a Toastmasters contest is to be stuck by the with the rule book of this year's speech contest, that is from July 2020 to June 2021. I will show you the rule book and how it looks through the presentation part. The next is there are two different types of contests. One is the online contest and the other is in person, like I mentioned. Online is specifically for 2020-2021 as directed by TI. And this presentation is primarily focusing on the online contest management itself. Now, let us look at the number of different role players that are really required when you look at online contest management. Now, there are several role players, and one of the most important role players that is required to be appointed is is that of the contest chair. And then there are chief judges, moderators as applicable for the online contest, and the contest toastmaster or the master, timers, sergeant at arms, tally counters, and of course the contestants. The single rule over here for every person. Needless to say, in an online contest, every single role player needs to have a good network connectivity. Number one, that is an unsaid rule. The second and the most important thing, or rather as a backup, I would say, is it is recommended that every single role player logs in with a primary device and a secondary device. And the secondary device should not be, I repeat, should not be on the same internet connectivity. Otherwise, come on, there is no point in having the two devices on the same internet connectivity, right? So that's one point which I wanted to stress upon when it comes to the online, rather the role players. Okay, let's start with the contest chair. As a matter of fact, one of the most important role players for any contest is that the contest chair, that he or she is like the president of the club or the district director of the district. So contest chair is the single point of contact for every single aspect that comes in the contest. Now, one point which I wanted to highlight is every role player, what I'm going to talk about today, there are going to be three different aspects about that particular role player's responsibilities. One is before the contest, second is during the contest, and the third is after the contest. We will cover every role players the same manner. All right. Now, the requirement over here for a contest chair obviously has to be a paid member of a club, and any contest chair is ineligible to contest in a contest held in the same event. What do I mean by that? Now, in case the contest, two contests, we have tall tales and international speech contest. Now, in case the club decides to contest or rather conduct the contest on the same day, if I am the contest chair of international speech contest, I am ineligible to contest in the tall tales contest, or the vice versa. Now, if the contest is held on two different days, that means it means two different events, then it is absolutely okay for me to contest there because it's a completely different event altogether. Clear? So there is a common confusion about this, and this really happened in my case. And one of the contest chairs in a contest which I was participating was supposed to contest at a club level contest. At that time, I did not know the rules. This was back in 2012, and that's when the district director, or rather district governor then, DTM Pethi, he called me aside and then he said that, this person cannot contest. And that's when I understood that there is even a rule like this. All right. So this is something that every single contest chair needs to remember, that you cannot participate in the contest that is held in the same event. Next, let us move to the before the contest, what a contest chair really needs to do. Now, the entire responsibility before the contest is divided into three major segments. One is the budget, second is the program, and third is the logistics. Now, when most of the cases, budget is something that may or may not be applicable. It's something that you need to discuss with the club treasurer or the area or the division treasurer or the division directors to decide on the budget before you take this particular role. Uh, Needless to say, Toastmasters is a non-profit organization, and every single time you take up or anything related to the budget, you have to break even, and you cannot undergo any loss in the as far as the event is concerned. Program and logistics involve these little activities such as the agenda, contestant certificates, trophies, and so on and so forth. We will come to that as and when we progress. Now, when you look at the budget itself, what we need to look at is you need to plan the income and expenses for the entire contest and ensure that you break even. Second, and the most important thing is to make sure that documentation is done properly. Now, if every single expense that you make should be documented, and this should be the original copies should be submitted to the club treasurer or the finance manager in case the district is involved. So this is very, very important when it comes to the billing and documentation part of it. And as a rule, you cannot charge any contestant. Entry fee is usually applicable to in-person contests. In case any division or area directors are willing to have a registration fee for their event, obviously no contestant must be charged an entry fee if he or she wishes to only compete. Now, you might have an education session, you might have some other event when it talks about the participation and things like that, it is not a problem. You can very well charge a fee if the contestant expresses unwillingness to participate in the entire event but only prefers to contest, then you cannot charge a fee. Now when it comes to the various budget related activities, what are the things that are applicable? Trophies, certificates, postage, and the platform online platform license which we are going to use in case it is applicable. In most cases for area and division contests, the trophies and the online platform licenses are not really applicable, because you can reach out to the respective district officer, and every division is provided with a specific login ID of Zoom professional account. So that is not a problem as far as this is concerned. In case for club contest, if you do have the login license, it's not a problem. If you do not have so, you can still reach out to your area director. He or she would be able to help you out with the same. Let's talk about the program. Now, when you talk about the program, there are various things that are really applicable when it comes to the program or part of the event. Agenda, invitation, appointments, and promotions. I want to specifically talk about the invitation and appointments. Now, invitation can be for the contestants, that is what do you call registration part of it. That is only for the people inviting people for the contest. So that way, if you're applicable for club contest, so make sure that you give sufficient time for the role players to prepare themselves. Second is about the appointments. With respect to the appointments, you need to select, as a contest chair, you need to select a chief judge at least 2 weeks before the entire event, and go through the contestant rule, the contest rule book for every single activity when it comes to the appointment of every role player. So the role players that you would need to appoint as the contest master, timers, there are 2 moderators, sergeant at arms, at least 2. Test speaker is not really applicable, but in our district right now, because we do not have the evaluation contest. And for the promotions, you need to work with the PR team of the club, or you need to work with the PR team of your respective area or division or district to ensure that there is good promotion that is created to invite members and gets to participate. At every point in time, needless to say, PR means we need to stick to the branding guidelines. So let's get into the details of the program and agenda. So opening, closing, and the contest order is something that you need to determine. And the second important aspect is the dignitary's address over here. Now, senior members or leaders of the organization or the club or the district must be given an opportunity, or preferably given an opportunity, to address the audience or gathering, because that's a way they can connect with the members. And you need to remember, if any of these members or leaders of the organization is a contestant, then no contestant will be given any speaking opportunity during before the event. And notify every single contest official about the time and details of the meeting, and briefing document. Every single document will be available or is available on the website for download already. This is the contest rulebook. Look at this, the cover page of the contest rulebook. So that has the photo of Aaron Beverly, the last year's world champion of public speaking. The latest contest rulebook is something that is available on the TI website and on the District 121 website as well. So now the logistics part of it. Now there are various documentation that you need to ensure as a contest chair. Now there is the contestant packet, judges packet, and the role players packet itself. So every single, rather the contest official packet. So every single document that is required is available as separate documents for download, and make sure that you have a copy of all these documents for sharing it with the respective role player or contestant. And the information is also passed to them irrespective of when the contest is organized. Well in advance, at least a week or 2 in advance is when you got to take care of this. The second is in terms of the certificates and trophies. In case you're planning to distribute, order for those things and then make sure that those are available and taken care of. As far as the eligibility is concerned, every single contestant should be eligible to contest, and the eligibility can be checked in the eligibility assistant available in the leadership central, which is available for access for the club officers and the district officers. In case you are not sure how to do so, no problem. You just write an email to speechcontest@toastmasters.org. They will help you with the same. Second one is for the area and division and district level events. So there is a document called as notification of winners that would be sent out to the contest chair of the next level. We would be getting the willingness to contest in case for any reason a contestant is unavailable or unwilling to contest, then that specific statement must be brought in, and the contest chair contacts the next eligible contestant as per the list. And then we would have to look at the during contests, what a contest chair needs to take care of. So one of the aspects is all contest officials and the contestant make sure that they are logged into the contest at least 30 minutes before the contest, review the rules with all the role players once again, make sure that you coordinate with the moderators and the setup is ready, readiness of the meeting room, conferencing, video related, what do you call, speeches, willingness in terms of whether the video recording has to be done by the contestants, can be done by the contestants, and so on. So these are the various important aspects when you look at the organization of a contest itself. Now, every single thing that you need to take care of, there is a checklist that we have already worked on from District 121. And this checklist for every role player, like for example, the contest chair right now will be something that is easy for you to download. If you look at a checklist that is there in your pathways, learning experience, any project that you do, there are various things that we need to do, and we can easily mark and write down what is required to be done. So the same concept is what we have incorporated for every role player, and it's made much easier for you to look at, to understand what you are supposed to do when you take up that specific role. All right, this checklist will be made available on the District 121 website for download as well. So moving on with the contest chair related activities. Now, anything that comes up during the contest, any concern is raised, any issue is raised, that is something that you would have to take care of as the contest chair, and you need to ensure that the contest is conducted very, very smoothly. Upon completion of the contest, just coordinate with the moderator and make sure that the chief judge and the tally or ballot counters are moved into a breakout room for counting process. The second aspect is the timing report. The timing report should be submitted to the contest, to the chief judge without fail. By default, the chief judge will take care of the same thing, but as a contest chair, please coordinate and make sure that that is taken care of and that does not delay the program of the entire event. Now, as a contest chair, you will be someone who would be reached out to in case of any protests. So as the contest chair, you need to be there to address these protests in case you can address. So irrespective of whether the uh, protest is able to be addressed from your side or not, you need to involve the chief judge and ensure that the protests are handled in the way they are supposed to be handled. All right. So a couple of things that we need to look at is protests is always limited to voting judges. I repeat, voting judges and the contestants. No other audience member is can protest. Now, say for example, I am just an audience and Azhar is a contestant and Mini is another contestant. I feel that Azhar has used some kind of a contest material and it's copied from somewhere. All right. Now I am able to prove that, but Mini does not really know that I'm able to know about that particular contest material is being copied. All right. Now that is something that we cannot really do anything about. If I know about it, I cannot raise a protest. But if Mini does know about it, then she can as a contestant. I mean, he's happy about that, you see. All right, so that is exactly something that we need to remember. It is always limited to the voting judges and the contestant, and it has to be proven. If not, we cannot really do anything about it. All right, we will come to the protest part of it when we are discussing more about the rules by the chief judge. Next is the during contest. Once the contest is concluded, the chief judge will give you the results form that is at the right of the screen. If you look at, this is the results form over here, and this is how it will look at. And the chief judge will mention if there is any time disqualification and the third place, second place, and the first place winner. Please note the order over here. Third place is what is mentioned in the first line, second place in the second line, and the first place in the first line. So when you are reading out the names, make sure this is what is read out. And when you are writing the names on the certificates also, make sure this is what is read out. Always there is a natural tendency to collect the certificates from the sergeant at arms, that is a written printed certificates, and then read out the names. But as a contest chair, please avoid doing that. Give the certificates to the sergeant at arms and the tech mod to project it on the screen, and you read out the results only from the results form and nothing else, because that is a document that is formally and officially given to you by the chief judge. Okay. The second aspect is prior to announcing, and when you're printing the names on the certificates, also make sure you verify it twice. Make sure the spellings are done right, they were verified correctly and taken care of as well. Okay, so now that is one part. When you are announcing the results, you need to announce the time disqualification, and then move on to the protests if there were any raised. Once they were taken care of, then it's not a problem. It's easy to go ahead and announce the results. And if the protests are raised, you need to also highlight how they were handled. Now there's a natural tendency to uh, announce, or rather ask the audience, like, okay, I'm going to announce the result now, any guesses for third place, any guesses for second place? Please avoid doing so. You can hold the suspense. The third place goes to, you see, the suspense can be taken care of. But you cannot really go and ask, okay, ladies and gentlemen, any guesses for the third place winner? So it tends to create a complete discomfort in the minds of the contestants. And second thing is, if that person you think is not going to win the third place or second place or first place, it's going to be that particular contestant would be really feeling bad, or there would be something or the other that would be emotionally disturbing for the contestant. So please avoid asking people to guess. You can hold the suspense in your own style that way. Okay, after the contest, pretty simple, a couple of things. You need to ensure that you give all the details of the contact details and the club numbers of all the contestants to the chief judge. This notification of contest winner sheet that you see on the left-hand side is something that has to be filled up by the chief judge and should be submitted to the contest chair of the next level of the speech contest. Preferably the contest chair, if the contest chair is already appointed. If not, you can submit it to the area director or division director, or the PQD or the district director or the chief judge in the district level contest. So that's one part. And make sure that the recognition is taken care of at each level for the winners. In case expenses are incurred, and make sure that you reimburse the expenses and submit all bills and take care of it. This concludes the uh, responsibility of a contest chair. Now, the second most important role for a chief judge. Now, one point is, whatever the questions that you people might have, please go ahead and then ping it on the chat box or ping it to Vanita directly. She will be compiling all the questions, and then we will be having a Q&A toward the end of the session, and we will go ahead with the training part of it taken care of. Next comes the chief judge. Now, chief judge is someone that must be a paid member, and again, he or she is ineligible to contest in the same event that is being held. In addition to that, he or she is eligible to compete in the contest at which she is serving as the chief judge at area, division, or district. It is not applicable for club level contest, but area, division, and district, it is definitely applicable. Similarly, before, during, and after is what we are going to discuss for a chief judge as well. Make one most important aspect: chief judge is always appointed or selected by the contest chair. Now, contest chair, does he or she really have the network? Nothing to worry. The list is available, will be made available, sorry, after this training. The list will be made available on the District 121 website. You can go ahead and then download the list and touch base with the respective people, or you can reach out to your respective area or division directors if need be. And most importantly, this is our job responsibility. That is, Girish and I are here to help you out with the entire process. So there's nothing to worry. We are always available round the clock. Girish is available till 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. So am I. So you can ping us at any point in time, and we'll be able to help you out with all sort of queries, or reaching out to the judges or chief judges, as a matter of fact. Second aspect is, you appoint as a chief judge, take care of the appointments of all voting judges and the secret tie-breaking judge, conduct their briefing, and ensure that every contest role player, contest official, understands and familiarizes himself or herself with the contest rule book. It is an unsaid rule. You need to ensure as the contest, as the chief judge, to the entire rule book is something that is understood by every role player. And if there is a registration process involved for your online contest management tool, we will come to that during the JTP any which way. Coordinate with the moderators and take care of it, and make sure that the soft copies of all the ballots are shared with the uh, contest officials, or rather the judges. Second is like I said earlier, for the contest chair, every single role that you need to, a responsibility that you need to discharge is available on the checklist. It is something that you can coordinate during the contest. You will have to log in 30 minutes before, verify whether all judges are present, uh, and verify them online and offline. Make sure you notify the contest moderator to let them in, and verify their network and audio clarity. Uh, Judges' audio clarity is not really important, but verify their network connectivity on both their devices, and protests during the contest if they are raised by the judges or any of the contestants. Make sure that is taken care of. Now, protests. Okay, let me just briefly touch upon it. Can be only two varieties, that is eligibility or originality. I'll not get into the details because that's something that we will understand when we are discussing the rule book. Now, originality is something that is highly debatable. I will be opening that particular debate to you guys when Girish is conducting the training. So there is no problem. Once we explain the rules, it will be easy for us to understand and then debate about if need be. Second is eligibility, that is already taken care of by the contest chair any which way. So that is done. And then completion of the contest, make sure that you coordinate with the judges and get their ballots signed and attested. And then as a chief judge, you and the tally counter would be moved into the breakout room by the moderator. Make sure you count all the ballots at least twice. Every single uh, judge's ballot should be opened in front of the tally counter. Every single contestant's name must be mentioned over here at the name of the contestant in the contest tally sheet. And then whatever the ranking is, you need to tabulate it and then count the entire process at least twice in the presence of the tally counter. Now, tally counters does the counting, you supervise it, and then you do the counting, tally counter supervises. That's how it is taken care of. And then second aspect is about the timer. Make sure you, whether the timer report is submitted or not to you, make sure that the timer report is something that you get from the timer or primary timer and the secondary timer. Once the counting is done, make sure you refer to the timer sheet and then mark the disqualification. And then once the counting is done and disqualifications are done, make sure if there are any ties, make sure that you refer to the tiebreaker judge only then. This is what you need to do as the chief judge. We will get into the process and details as a next step in the next training. Now, fill the results form, check the names twice again, then before submitting to the contest chair. After the contest, it's pretty simple. Like I said, for the contest chair, get the details from the contest chair for all contestant winners, and then fill out all the form, the entire form. Now, when you are filling out the form, you're not really required to fill only the top three because only the top three are announced. You are required to fill every ranked eligible contestant. Say, for example, there are about five contestants, and one is disqualified on basis of time, and four are there who are ranked in various positions by every judge. That means you need to mention 1, 2, 3, 4. The understanding there is, if the first contestant is not available, the second goes in. If the second is not available, third goes in. Now, if third is also not available, that's when the fourth goes in. I repeat, that's when the fourth goes in. This goes on till how many ever eligible contestants are there in the list, and if they are ineligible or unavailable, unavailable or unwilling to contest, then the next eligible contestant is what is taken into the next level of the contest. Well, submit the form to the next contest chair. This brings us to the end of the chief judge's training. Now, the next important role player in the contest is the contest toastmaster or the contest master. Contest master is a practice that is usually done, that we have in district 82 and 92 and now in 121, wherein there is a separate MC for the contest itself. taken care of. He or she comes up on stage and then conducts the entire contest in the way it is supposed to be conducted. Again, paid member, ineligible to contest in that particular contest where he or she is serving. The responsibilities are threefold: before, during, and after. Now, before the contest, make sure that you follow the checklist, download it from the website. Make sure that you get the list of the contestant and the details from the contest chair. Make sure that you submit all, or rather, yeah, hand over the contestant packet to the contestants and coordinate with them, and at least participate in the briefing that is done 2 days before the contest. Now, as the contest master, the contest toastmaster, one of the most important aspects that you need to be understanding is the pronunciation of each and every name of the contestant. Not just that, pronunciation of the speech titles as well. There might be several requests that you would have as from the contestants, saying that I want you to pronounce my title like this or like that. None of these things must be entertained. There was a specific request every single time. Yes, every time I've taken the role of a contest master, this has happened. There is at least one contestant that has come to me and then asked that, okay, Arjun, I want you to pronounce my name like this or my title like this. And let me give you an example. There is a contest chair in the district level contest. It happened a few years back. The speech title was "Oh." The contest chair was requested to pronounce it as contestant name or or contestant name. That is how the contest chair was asked to pronounce, and the contest chair actually did that. Now that cannot really happen because as the contest master, you are supposed to maintain uniformity for every single contestant, and that is the most important aspect that you need to mention. The amount of stress you give for a specific name at a specific point, the way you pronounce the name, the way you emote or express, you modify your facial expressions, every single aspect must be taken care of. I'll give you another example. There was another contest master in a division level contest. What he did was he walked in front of the contestant during a table topics contest after greeting him. All right, after greeting him, shake hands, and he walked in front of the contestant around that. Every single contestant that came up on stage after that first contestant, he did the same exact thing, because that is an interruption between the audience and the contestant. That is the amount of details to which a few people can get into also. All right, so make sure whatever it is, you maintain uniformity for all contestants, and coordinate with the contest chair and moderator for every single trial run that you might have. And of course, the rule book is an unsaid rule for the understanding of the rule book. Second is about during the contest. During the contest, the scripts will be uploaded on the District 121 website. You need not worry about what is that we need to follow, or you need not Google for any script. Standard script for online contest management would be organized or arranged in the entire uh, what do you call District 121 website. It will be made available and it will be taken care of for you to download. The next aspect is about the pronunciation of contestant. Is that something that I covered during the silence, to maintain 2 minutes of silence during the entire event between contestants and before the first contestant as well. Now, one aspect is 1 minute is primarily to make sure that there is no disturbance and things like that, and then the other one is to verify audio and video check to make sure that there is a clarity and things. All right, and do not distribute participation certificates during the contestant. After the contestants is something that you can distribute the part during the silence rather. After all the contestant, as per the speaking order, you can display the participation certificates, and if need be, conduct contestant interviews. That is their only time, and if your program really permits, again, that's the only time they tend to speak something outside of their contest related speech. So that way you can connect and then make sure that the audience also connects with them in some way or the other. After the contest is concluded, have a small remark and then conclude it. We hand it over to the MC. Once it is done, hand over all the contest documents related documentation, if at all anything that you have, to the contest chair as applicable. Next is the Well, for an online contest, it is the most important role, that of a moderator. Now, a moderator is also appointed by a contest chair. Okay, once before that, Azhar, can you quickly check with the timer? I'm not able to check the timer. I pinned somehow. I missed it.
Sure. Abhijit or Shesham,
Yeah,
can you please?
yeah, it's 40 minutes over.
Thank you, Abhijit. I'm just checking your name on this one. Yes, perfect. Thank you. Okay, sorry about that. Moderator. Okay, moderator is one role that is obviously added to the online contest management. Now, this is one role that needs to be taken care of pretty seriously, because it is the most important role. You manage it, manage the entire contest, and the entire contest depends on you. Now, as you need to be a paid member, responsibilities are threefold. Again, it is understood. The one aspect which you need to understand about being a moderator is the fact that before the contest, you need to go with the platform that we as a district have decided. Now, for every area, division, and district level contest, that is the contests organized by the district officers, district, uh, we would be using the Zoom platform. In case as a club, as a company policy, you use any other platform, you are free to do so. There is nothing wrong in doing so. In case you wish to use Zoom platform and you do not have the license, please reach out to us. We will provide you with the details, at least that allows 100 participants. If need be a Zoom Pro account, you can also register yourself if your company policy or the club funds allows you to do so. If not, you can reach out to us. We will be able to help you out with this entire thing. So the second aspect is about the familiarization about the usage of the entire platform. Make sure that you go through the entire settings and use the breakout rooms, waiting rooms, switching between rooms, etc. All these aspects, something that you need to be familiar with, and schedule the meeting in advance. Both the meetings about the a contest meeting and the briefing meeting, contestant briefing and the judges briefing meetings as well. So schedule all these meetings, make sure that the link is shared with the contest chair to be shared with respective role players, and send the meeting invite to them, and then make sure that you enlist all the contestants, contest officials with their respective names, and follow the naming convention. Naming convention, will come to it a while later. Now, in case there are any audio and video requirements that we need to be checked, that need to be checked for the contestant or any other contest officials, that is the contest master, contest chair, some cases, and chief judge also. Make sure that you take care of all those audio video requirements and checks before the contest even begins. Now, permitted video settings, one of the things that that is a standard. This is a standard video setting for contestants when you talk about the international speech contest, especially wherein the video recording has to be submitted. And we would be following a similar rule with respect to this. Obviously, the quality depends on the internet connectivity. Make sure that the connectivity is strong. There is no multiple camera angle that we can have for the video recording. And if need be, if your camera or laptop camera or desktop camera is not really okay, make sure that you connect another camera of good quality, and make sure that is also placed on a tripod to maintain stability and prevent unwanted movement. And then the focus should be the entire speaking area like this. Like, for example, I'll give you my own example over here. If you see my screen, there is a light at the background, and that is kind of distracting. Preferably avoid things like these in a contest environment. If need be, you can have a standard contest standard wall that is there for you, and make sure that the light is in front of you and not behind you, so that there is a clear view of your face, facial expression, or gestures that you emote, so on. And then if need be, if you have a separate camera operator or a tripod that needs to be placed. Make sure that there is a person to help you with the same, and you will not fumble during your contest as a contestant. And moderator must ensure that these things are taken care of. There is no zooming permitted, and there is no a specific focus area that is permitted in the entire contest. Audio settings, yes, must be clear without echo. Make sure you use a good quality mic, and there is no other excessive noise around. For example, the fan or the background or the traffic sometimes. Okay, traffic is kind of unavoidable, but as much as possible, if you are a contestant, make sure that you are in a room where there is little less noise around, and moderator needs to coordinate on these aspects. Lighting, like I said, fully lit, facial expressions should be visible, not too bright, not too dark, and preferably there is no artificial light or natural. Yabshad, I am seeing that you are raising your hand. You can ping your question on the chat box to the PQD in person or on the chat box directly. We'll clarify the question when we come back. Thank you, Yabshad. That's before the contest. During the contest, every role player will be asked to log in. No, 30 minutes before the contest, you have the I would say privilege of logging in at least 45 minutes before the contest. Refer the checklist and make sure things are taken care of. Every meeting setting is taken care of. Make sure that the waiting room is enabled. I repeat, this is very, very important for a contest, because during a contestant's speech, do not avoid anyone into the meeting. After the meeting is when you need to allow them into the meeting room. So preferably small one-line message saying that contest is in progress, please wait till you're allowed in, would help the audience member not to panic or simply wait, okay, what is really happening. So that's one part which I wanted to mention. As the moderator, you will have to take care of 3 breakout rooms, one for organizers, one for contestants, and one for judges. And we need to coordinate with the respective role players, like the contestant chair for organizers and contestants, and for judges with the chief judge. Allow all contest officials, follow naming convention, allow the contestants later. So this is a step-by-step process that you need to follow as the moderator. First, you need to allow the contest officials, make sure that every role player is taken care of. Allow the contestants, move them into the contestant breakout room, and let the contest master or contest chair coordinate on the connectivity related aspect or the mic check just before the contest that they need to do, and their naming convention. And then the speaking order. So you need to make sure that you also note down the speaking order of every contestant, because as the moderator, you would be the person who would have to spotlight every contestant when the turn comes. So for that, make sure you note down the speaking order correctly as well. And once you allow the voting judges inside, make sure that the judges are also moved along with the chief judge into the judges breakout room for the final checks and naming convention as applicable. Next is during the speech contest. Now, as a moderator, you need to mute audio by default for all participants when they log in. And you also need to disable allow unmute or self unmute option there. And then disable the sound when a participant logs in. Set the gallery view by default for timers and contest masters, and then disable the chat before the contest begins. That is, during the contest, again, definitely there is no chat. So before, when the event begins, you can have the chat enabled. Just before the contest master takes the stage, you need to disable the chat box, and make sure that the chat option is made to enabled rather, only for the uh, any audience member to chat with the what do you call hosts and co-hosts. So this is very important. There would be a lot of coordination that would be required between the contest organizing team, and that's why the chat is enabled only for them. In case the audience wishes to do so, they can touch base with the host or the co-host only, and participant chats is completely disabled. Now ensure that every single point at time in the contest, make sure that the contest officials are all available, because as the moderator, that is why we have 2 moderators. As the moderators, you need to make sure that every single role player is available in the meeting throughout. In case someone is dropped out, which is quite common because of the connectivity, make sure you notify the contest chair or the chief judge. they will take appropriate action because they are guided to do so. Once someone is dropped, now there are various aspects that we need to look at in only when the contest so meeting participants, there's nothing to worry. You will obviously let them in during the silence, that is the break. When the contestant is dropped out during the speech, allow them immediately, and there is a process that we need to follow, that will be followed. Once the contestant speech is done, any other contestant, that is, allow the contestant during the silence into the audience, I mean into the meeting room. That is, if contestant 1 is speaking and contestant 3 gets dropped out, all right, you can allow them inside after the contestant 1's speech is taken care of. Now, any other contest official, now make sure that you notify the other official immediately. Judges, the chief judge will be coordinating any which way, and make sure that the judges are allowed immediately right after, and then uh, the chief judge will be taking the required action there. Now, primary timer, once the primary timer is, this is very important again. Now, primary timer by default will be asked to be pinned by every single contest master to every single contestant. Now, once the primary timer drops out, you notify the contest chair and the chief judge. Contest chair, contest master will be listening to what exactly is being the time that is being monitored, and the timer will be taken care by both the timers, primary and the secondary timer, timer 1 and timer 2. Now, once the primary timer drops out, that is when you will be spotlighting the secondary timer. Okay. Until then, you will not be spotlighting any other member or role player other than the contestant during a contest. So that is important. All right. Any other contest officials, notify the contest chair and allow during silence. There is nothing to worry. If sergeant at arms get dropped out, you can very well notify the chair and allow during the silence, because during the contest there is no major role per se. Okay, because there is another person to take care of that minor role. If yeah, if as a matter of fact you get dropped out, the other moderator is there to take care of. Okay, spotlights. Now, respective district officer and club officer or the leader, as per the agenda, when they are speaking, make sure that they are spotlighted. No contestant must be so what do you call, given a turn to speak or spotlighted during the entire contest. Contest master while reading out the script, contest master, chief judge, and contestant during the audio video check. Especially there is a feature called as add spotlight in Zoom. Please make use of that and add multiple spotlights so that all three are available during the audio video check just before the contestant's turn to speak comes. Once the turn to speak, once the video check or audio check is done, remove the contest master and the chief judge from the spotlight when the contestant is being introduced. Follow the same order. First, the chief judge has to be removed, and then the contest master will be removed from the spotlight, remove spotlight feature. Because chief judge role is done to check on behalf of the judges, and contest master, obviously he or she would be introducing the contestant. So that's why he or she is removed later from the spotlight. Now, no other contestant would be spotlighted except for the secondary timer, like I mentioned earlier. Distribution of participation certificates. Make sure that you set the order of speaking correctly and share the screen and add the respective contestant under spotlight for that particular this one. So the order of speaking and the certificates order is something that you would have to organize before you distribute the participation certificates. Same thing holds good for the winning certificate as well. Now, winning certificate is a celebration, and that's why we have multiple people under spotlights over here. Now, contest chair, contest master, chief judge, and any other special invitee, if it is if he or she is there at the meeting, then that is one thing that you would have to look at in terms of spotlighting that particular individual. Winners, third place, second place, first place, always. That is how the contest winners will be announced by the contest chair. Check with the contest chair, make sure that you know who these winners are and spotlight them right on time when their name is called out. Not before, because sometimes the contest chair would have the suspense there, but right when the name is called out, you can spotlight them. And then yes, for a group photograph, obviously you would have all these people and the winners individually and all three winners together as well. You can have a group photograph taken that will be used for your promotions post the contest as such. Now, contestant requests. Now, it will be what do you call? There might be specific contestant that will come and request the contest chair, saying that no, I want to stay in the breakout room, or rather, I don't want to listen to any of the speeches. I want to stay alone. So preferably move them, advise them not to log out of the meeting, let them stay logged in, preferably move them into a different contestant breakout room, and they can never log out because they might face problems after that particular logout as well, in case there is anything. Because once you are into a meeting, you have a stable internet connection, it's taken care of. That's why we encourage the participants or contestants not to log out during the meeting. So you can move them into a breakout room. Now, during the 1 minute silence, do not display the participation certificates and of the this one of the contestants. That can be done at the later stage of the contest, after all the contestants are done. During the 1 minute silence, you send this request of ask to unmute and ask to start video for the next contestant, and then spotlight the contestant and let that person stay quiet. Only after the contest master requests him or her to speak, the contestant can do so. Protest, make sure in case there is any protest that is raised and the chief judge and the contest chair has notified you, make sure that you move the chief judge and all the voting judges into the breakout room if required for discussion. And in case the chief judge comes back and requests you to move the contestant, there is a process and protocol that we need to follow while handling protests. uh, that particular process is something that will be taken care by the chief judge. In case such a request comes, move the contestant applicable into the breakout room. Now, obviously, you need to be integral to this particular thing. The contestant's detail is not really announced to you by anyone in the contest whenever a protest is raised. So make sure that you have that uh, integrity. You practice that integrity as a matter of fact by not disclosing any of this information after the contest. And after the speech contest is done, mute all, remove the spotlights. And then after the contestants are done, close the contestant breakout rooms, close the organizers breakout room and the judges breakout rooms. And after the networking and things, close the meeting for all before you log out of the meeting. Or in case you're logging out of the meeting because of your own commitments, you make sure that whoever logs out last from the contest management team closes the meeting for all and then steps out of the entire scenario. All right, this is during the contest. And of course, there is nothing much that needs to be taken care of for the moderator after the contest. So we will move ahead with the next role player, that is a timer. Again, the same concept, nomenclature, 30 minutes before logging, 30 minutes before the contest, and then make sure that the timing equipment is taken care of. Now, if you see what Abhijit is doing, this is exactly what we will be following for as a district for the contest. Now, just search for the name Abhijit from your tab and then pin him and then see what exactly he's doing. So what is really happening is he has a virtual background and there is a green color and he has covered the camera. Once you cover the camera, nothing would be seen. Only the virtual background would be seen entirely. Okay, so that is the feature that he is taking care of. Okay, let me demonstrate it with my virtual background. I have a problem with my computer. This is what happens with my virtual background. You look at this, but when I cover my camera and select this, you see this. This is what happens when I'm covering the camera. And when I'm changing the timer card to any, okay, I'll change the card, virtual background, and you would be able to see what exactly happened. You see this? This is what we are supposed to do. Okay, as the contestant, or rather as the timer, you need to make sure that you use the virtual background only. Make sure that you do not have any other timing device or funky, creative aspect that you want to bring in as a timer. In a contest, we avoid doing that. Have the virtual background set up, preferably downloaded from the District 121 website or the Toastmasters International website of all the timer cards, and the blue background. Throughout the contest, you have the blue background. When the timer lower time limit comes, you have the green, yellow, and the red subsequently. And with the covering the camera, don't worry, you not put your finger throughout the entire contest and then keep. Just make sure you have a sticky note or something like that, and that is taken care of. This is good enough. Fair enough. So that's with respect to the timer and the virtual background. And make sure that you note down the contestant order throughout the contest, and have the green, yellow, and red standard. Preferably remove every single virtual background other than these four backgrounds, green, yellow, and red, and the TI standard blue background. Other than these backgrounds, remove every other background from your what do you call, Zoom setting. You can add them later, there's nothing to worry, because there should not be any other mistake that happens while changing the background, because during a contest it is most important for us to stick to the entire thing. Like in a club meeting yesterday, I noticed that a timer by mistake showed the red card during the green card time. It's a meeting, there's nothing to worry, but if such a thing happens during a contest, it can really take the contestant aback, because I prepared my speech like this, and suddenly if I see the red card in the 5th minute during an international speech contest, I will be shocked. I will lose the flow if I am the contestant. And that's exactly the reason. Practice changing the backgrounds frequently and in the same order, and have only these backgrounds during the entire meeting. Okay. Second is signal red at the end of, oh yes, for the red signal at the end of each contestant, make sure that the red signal is is just on for the entire contest till the contestant is finishing the contest. So once he or she finishes the contest, whatever the time you see on your timing device, 5 minutes 55 seconds, note that down. It can be 7 minutes 31 seconds, note that down. Whatever it is, you make sure that is noted down properly to that second, microsecond, don't worry about it. But uh, the second is what is taken care of. Acknowledge the clarity if the contest master asks you before every contestant, and signal a red card at the end of the minute silence. Submit the timer's report to the chief judge as soon as you're done. So primary and secondary timers, both of you must be maintaining the time at the same point in the contest, irrespective of the fact whether you're going to display the card or not. Secondary timer, you will come into action only when the primary timer is unavailable or gets dropped off during the meeting. Until then, you will just be monitoring time and maintaining a record. Just because you're not displaying the card, it doesn't really mean that we need not monitor the time and record it. We need to ensure that the time is taken care of. The record is also taken care of. Now let's move to the sergeant at arms of the contest. Now, again appointed by the contest chair, responsibilities are before and during the contest, must be a paid member, ineligible. The default what do you say, the requirements are taken care of. At least make sure that there are two sergeant at arms in the meeting. Now one has to be in the main meeting room, and one in the contestant breakout room if at all there is any contestant that requires to be there available. Moderators can send a broadcast message or have the contest sergeant at arms be available in that particular breakout room with the contestant, to make sure that when the contestant's turn comes, he or she would be moved back in. Make sure that you coordinate with the contest chair, contest master, and moderator during the trial runs, familiarize with the rule book, and participate in the contestant briefing at least 2 days before the contest. Receive the speaking order from the contest chair and make sure that you have the same with you to coordinate with the moderator and the contest chair if need be. Now, during the contest, you make sure that you're logged in before at least 30 minutes before the contest. Coordinate with the moderator and rename yourself. Identify the breakouts that are available, and coordinate with the moderator and the contestant and the contest chair to make sure that these things are taken care of. Move them into the breakout room, as in go with the contest chair and support the entire process as such, contest process as such. And in case you notice any malpractices, preferably that will not be the case at all. In case there are anything, you make sure that you report the same to the contest chair or the chief judge. Preferably the contest chair is your point of contact anyway. Tally and ballot counters, one of the most important roles, rather the most important role, I would say, in a contest. environment. Now, it is also appointed by contest chair before the contest and during the contest. This is the time tally counter sheet that we need to look at and that we will be working on. Familiarize with the rule book, contest officials packet you would be receiving from the contest chair, and participate in the briefing. Make sure that you are aware who the judges are, and you need to participate in the briefing. Make sure that the speaking order is something that you will receive and from the contest chair, and you will distribute it to the chief judge also for taking care of the judges list as well. And then if at all signing up for the tool is required, you make sure you do that. Coordinate with all three role players during the trial runs if need be. Next comes during the contest. During the contest, this is what is there in the tally counters sheet. I specifically zoomed in to this specific this particular part in the tally counter sheet. This is the tally counter sheet that we saw earlier, right? This is the tally counter sheet, and this part is where what we are seeing in this slide over here. So one of the aspects that we need to take care of as the tally counters is that we need to make sure that you write down the list of all contestants, all judges, and the ranking needs to be done in the following order. Like the judges ballot that is given to you, first place, second place, third place is what is given. The first place winner is given 3 points, the second place winner is given the given 2 points, and the third place is given 1 point. So make sure you mark these numbers correctly in the tally counters sheet, and the counting process is something that has to be done by sharing the screen in the presence of the chief judge. Both of you would be in the breakout room. Make sure you share the screen, you do the counting process, chief judge supervises it, chief judge does the process, verifies that, and you supervise that as well. All right. Once the counting is done, refer to the timers, strike out the timers sheet, strike out the time disqualification criteria, and then refer to the tiebreaker judge in case of ties, then mark the tiebreakers judges ballot. Now chief judge will show you or must show you the tiebreakers judge ballot, and that is how ties are handled. I'll not get into the details because we will be covering that and discussing in detail about how ties are handled as well at a later stage. Now, note down the names of the winners correctly. Write these things down in the tally counter sheet: first place, second place, third place, and hand it over to the chief judge. Chief judge will write the third place, second place, first place in the results form and hand it over to the contest chair. I repeat, tally counters is 1, 2, 3 in the tally counters sheet. In the results form, it is 3, 2, 1, and that is what is handed over to this. Now, one of the aspects that you will know as the tally counter is who is the winner, who is disqualified, and whether there was a tie or not. As the contest chair announces the results, you should be available in the meeting and listening to what is being announced. In case there is any discrepancy, only you and the chief judge. I did not mention this when I was talking about the chief judge because I wanted to mention the tally counters role, because only the two of you in the entire contest would be aware of what the disqualification status is and who the winners are before the result is announced. And in case there is a discrepancy, you please interrupt in the meeting and then make sure that is communicated to the contest chair saying that this is what is done as a mistake. It's someone else. Please verify and come back. You need not announce the name of the winners. You can simply say, please verify and come back. Let the contest chair touch base with the chief judge and you separately and then take care of it. That's one part. Second is regarding the time disqualifications. There is one more role player that will obviously know whether there is a time disqualification. That is a timer. So the timer can interrupt only when a contestant that is disqualified on time is actually announced as a winner. All right. Or if the contest chair mentions that there was no disqualification on time. So only then the timer can interrupt. Other than that, timer cannot really interrupt in any other case. Interrupt or point out to the contest chair or the chief judge. Are we clear about this? Fair enough. So note on the names of the winners and make sure that is taken care of. Next is the judges. Now, judges, every single appointment of judge is done by the chief judge. Every other role player is done by the contest chair. But as the contest chair, you please do not get into the appointment of judges. That has to be taken care by the chief judge only. Chief judge will touch base with us and we will coordinate with them to make sure that there are eligible and competent judges that are what do you call taken care of for every single contest at every level. So there are specific requirements as per the rule book when it comes to the judges roles. Must be a paid member for an area and division contest. Obviously the member has to be paid for 6 months, and for what do you call, must have completed 6 speeches from the competent communication manual or earned level 1 and level 2 in any one path of the pathways. Now, one small condition over here regarding the competent communication eligibility. This is applicable only for Toastmasters who are active or who were active members in District 121 or rather in District 92 before this year, before April 2018. April 2018 is when Pathways was rolled out in our district. So if you were a member before that, then you are okay to show the eligibility with CC6 completion. If not, it is only Pathways for you. And any other member that joined later is by default Pathways. Responsibilities, of course, before and during the contest, judges, voting and tie-breaking judge is the same thing. Rulebook, 100% familiarization. There is no excuses to that. Make sure that you complete the documentation process by coordinating with the chief judge, sign up in the tool if it is required. If at all the tool requires operation and practice, make sure you do that. Participate in the trial runs, understand the naming convention if there is any, and obtain the speaking order from the chief judge. You will be a part of a separate WhatsApp group to coordinate with the chief judge and make sure that you are active there as well and you're active here as well. In case you do not receive any document or voting link or soft copies, make sure that you ask the chief judge and receive the same well in advance. Second, and the most important aspect is when you get dropped out during the meeting, immediately make sure that you inform the chief judge. Whatever be the case, you are the person that is going to select the winner and your availability is at most important during the meeting. Listen to each contestant, keep the soft copies handy, and have no bias when you are evaluating or when you are judging any contestant. So make sure that you complete the voting process after each contestant and not consolidate everything or compile everything together and do it later. And in case you are having connectivity issues, you are definitely logging in from 2 devices. There is no excuses to that. And in case if it is required, you can take care of the secrecy part of it there itself. Next is about the during contest. Now, once the last contestant is done, submit your top 3 list to the chief judge. If take a screenshot of your ranking and share it over a personal message to the tally counter, and this what do you call chief judge in case of a tie-breaking judge. So keep these screenshot and the personal message with you in case if it is required. Then point that out or demonstrate or show this particular same thing to the chief judge or the tally counter. After the contest, you please refrain discussing and delete every single documentation that is required related to the contest, and refrain from criticizing or discussing about the entire contest publicly. Now, next is a contestant. Okay, at the end of the day, we are all here to participate or take up some role. One of the roles is that gives us a sense of satisfaction or a different kind of I would say adrenaline rush is being a contestant, right? By default, as a contestant, you should have understood how every other role player performs, and by default you need to familiarize with the rule book come what may and the judging criteria without any doubt there. Okay, now one thing is, do not log in as a contestant from a mobile device. Use that as a secondary device if need be. Primary device always and always has to be a laptop with a strong internet connectivity. Make sure that uh, Well, internet connectivity is definitely your responsibility. Although you cannot really, it's not dependent on you. It is your internet connectivity, and your consent is what is really required there before the contestant, or rather before your turn to speak comes, right? So make sure that before the contest, like every other role, make sure you can complete the documentation process. Well, if at all there is any PR required or done around the contest, make sure that your recent photographs are sent and not really candid photos there. Attend the briefing without fail, because briefing is very, very important. If possible, connect using the same laptop, using the same video and microphone that you would want to use during the contest. Ensure that there is a quality, that is, there is just a double check from your side. It is not a rule, but it is a preference for your own safety as a contestant. And in case there is any props usage, make sure that you are informing the contest chair about this. And trial runs, definitely you need to be there before the contest begins itself. During the contest day, log in 30 minutes. No virtual backgrounds will be permitted. You need to have a plain background, preferably with no distractions or any other photos or wall hanging items there. So make sure that you are clear with all these aspects. As much as possible, have some sort of a corner in your house that has this kind of a setting, and make sure that the lighting is also taken care of. Now, in case you are someone who wants to stay alone during the contest till your turn to speak comes, you can very well do so. Request the contest chair to be moving you into a breakout room. Moderator will do that. And in case of this is obviously international speech contest and tall tales contest in our district. In case before your turn to speak comes, make sure you pin the primary timer and confirm the same. Remember, you need to confirm that you have pinned the timer. Now I will give you the same mistake that I did. Sometime back, I could not pin the timer, and I was searching and checking for Abhijit's name. That is the mistake that I did from my part. And that's exactly the thing that you need to avoid. If I confirm, like for example, as the contest chair, Azhar asks me, have you pinned the timer one? I give a consent saying that I have pinned the timer one. That means it is the consent from my side. And after that, there is no going back. You cannot really go back and say, no, I could not see the timer. I could not see the green card. I could not see the red card. Nothing of that sort will happen once you give the timer. In case the timer drops out, then it will be taken care of by the contest chair. All right. So that's one part. When called upon, you unmute yourself and follow the instructions that is given. After the contest, well, there is nothing much for you to do. Collect this participation certificate happily. And yeah, most important aspect, you might be a wounded soldier because you have not won the contest. Avoid criticizing the contest publicly. Each and every judge that is picked by the contest chief judge is a qualified judge from District 121. We will make sure that the quality of these judges are taken care of. We have made sure through these workshops, and today also with Girish's training, there is no doubt that every single judge in this particular room knows and understands how things are done when it comes to a contest. Toastmasters contest is designed that way. Whoever you think is the best winner may not be the winner. It might be a different perspective. So that is why there are multiple people selected as judges and presenting their opinion. One of the most, I would say, it is a flawless system that I have seen in a lot of contests that I've been a part of. The way we pick our winners, the way the system is designed is so beautiful. And as much as possible, as as contestant, even though I'm not really happy about the result, I should avoid discussing completely about the results, that is, or the conduct of the contest itself. That's one part. In case you do have a protest before the announcement of result, you can raise a protest either to the contest chair or the chief judge. Only you can do so. But if you do have a protest, make sure you have valid proof. If you are unable to prove, then the protest cannot be really entertained. Now, in case you win the contest, after the contest, obviously you can prepare for the next level. In case you do not really win, don't worry about it. There is always the next year. There are contestants that have participated for 20, 30 years before winning the World Championship public speaking. And they are there because they did not give up. They did not criticize the results. They did not really feel that, well, I'm not cut out for this. And that's why today they have become the world champion. I can pick out names and tell you, for example, this year's world champion itself, my car, he is someone who's participated for more than, I think, 15, 20 years. There is 2011 champion. Jock Elliott has contested for 33 years before winning the world championship. Imagine that. Alright, people are there like that who've never given up and gone on contesting every single year. And that is why they are there in the district or in the contest finals as champions. So whatever the results are, be happy about it and go back home. This pretty much brings us to the end of the presentation part of it. I will stop the screen share and we will get into the question and answers setting. All
Awesome. So to be very frank, we have got 32 questions so far.
wow.
And we will be answering whatever is applicable within 10 minutes. And once
Okay.
the session ends and the timer shows me a red card, we will be stopping the Q&A. And later, we will be creating a collation of all the questions as well as their answers and reaching out to the district separately online.
Perfect.
Okay. So let us start off. The first question was asked by Toastmaster Dilip. He says, this is probably for the chief judge. Recently on a contest, I observed that people who had internet connectivity issues were called 3 times and then said they cannot be participating because 3 times they were already called. So even if the connectivity issues are there, is it possible to give them a second chance?
Okay. Now, see, connectivity issues is something that it's a dicey situation. All right. Now, as a contest management team, what you need to understand is that from your side and the contestant side, okay, you need to ask for the what do you call consent of audio and video clarity. That check is something that we will do. Once the check is done and once you give the consent saying that yes, I have checked my particular time and I have taken care of it, then that consent is what is taken care as the final word. All right. If the contestant drops out and if there is some kind of an issue, all right, technical issue during the contest speech, that is, if a contestant drops out during the speech, that is where your contest chair, contest master, all these people must note down the last sentence. I repeat, my last sentence that is being said by the contestant. Last sentence, that is clear sentence. All right. And the timer also must note down the time at which this particular sentence was mentioned. Once this is done, Dilip, what is done over here is the entire, once the contestant is brought back into the spotlight, or rather into the meeting, it is checked once again. The same check is done. The contest master will mention your time stop, the time stopped at this particular point when you said this specific sentence. Now the contestant will be given a few seconds to check the audio video and then introduce once again and then continue the contest. The timing will start after that, from that point in time. In addition to that, the timer will be giving, or rather the chief judge, while evaluating the time, the chief judge would be giving 30 seconds extra by default. This is with respect to the time. Now, what is the time that we need to connect back? We would be given, Girish, 2 minutes is what we had decided for the contestant to log back into the meeting. And that is the reason why we say the contestants need to log in from both the devices. If the primary is disconnected from the secondary device, please inform the team that this is what has happened. If you wish to continue to present your speech with the secondary device, you may wish to do so. That is your call entirely. Or if you want to log back in from the primary device, this is the process that we will be doing. Is that clear, Dilip? Girish, if
Yeah.
there is anything that you want to add?
Yeah,
I think
thanks.
Arjun, you handled it well. So long story short, the onus of connectivity lies with the contestant.
So we would definitely give 2 minutes, but if it keeps on happening again and again, it might sound unfair, but in the interest of time and for everybody, we would have to follow what Arjun just mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Arjun, Arjun and Girish, thank you for taking that question. In fact, I'm very clear about this use case where there is an interruption while a contestant is speaking. But then I was talking about a scenario where the contestant is not even able to begin the speech because he's not in the room because of a connectivity issue. He was trying to log in, but then he couldn't get in there. At that point in time, calling out that person who's not there on the meeting 3 times doesn't make sense, right?
Okay. Okay. All right. This specifically happened this year in our international speech. Last year in our international speech contest, and ma'am, district director only was our chief judge, and the way it was handled is very, very simple. Dilip, there was a contestant that was logged out because of a power cut. He did try logging in. After that, the next contestant was given the turn to speak by his after taking his consent. Sorry, the next contestant was done. Meanwhile, this is the time that was given to this particular contestant to log back in and then participate as a next speaker. This is what was done before even his turn to speak has come. All right, that's this kind of a scenario is something that is unavoidable, or you cannot really handle it. This is the only way and fair way to handle, if you ask me honestly. And that's my take on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Azhar, next, please.
Thank you so much, Dilip. Now the next one is coming from our district PRM.
Yeah, Neil.
Yeah, this is coming from Neil. Some contestants would read out their speeches from the computer screen. Would judging criteria affect that?
It's your call. As a judge, you know for a fact whether, because of your experience, if you ask me, you will know whether the contestant is reading, or you will know whether the contestant is delivering a speech. Irrespective of whatever the case is, contestant is more than eligible to decide how he or she needs to give the speech. All right. There are cases where during the contest itself, there is a contestant that has given the speech at a lectern as well. So there is nothing to worry regarding the notes, and it is completely your own personal preference as a judge. All right. To whether you want to consider that or not when it comes to scoring that particular contestant.
Okay. The next question is coming from Subramaniam sir, and it says, is there a separate online judges voting tool that the district would recommend?
There are many tools. I will not touch upon this particular thing because we will be discussing about this during the judges training program. So Subbu sir, we will be answering that question in the next session for you. There is no worry. We can go to the next question, sir.
Awesome. So next is coming from Shashikant M. So question with regard to the slide on guideline to the contestant. Is it any more relevant to have to point out that pin the timer, considering Zoom now allows us to move the video boxes to any desired position? So is this flexibility okay, or do we have to explicitly ask the speaker to take care of it?
100% pin the timer. No excuses to that. Whether it is moving possible or not possible, don't take chances with that. It is the contestant's responsibility to see the timer, even if it is the live or in-person contest. So it is the contestant's responsibility to pin the timer, come what may. That's what. As the contestant, your responsibility is to monitor the time, come what may. It is not my responsibility as the organizing team. All right. If you have timed your speech well, there is no problem at all, and you can continue to do so, even if it's in the gallery view or whatever the case may be. Irrespective of that, we need to ensure that that the timer is allowed to pin by the contestant, and the setting is taken care of, like Vanita rightly pointed out in the setting. So moving the video, moving the screen and things like that is something that we cannot take the onus on as the contest management team. It is purely and purely contestant's responsibility. All right, we will discuss about this offline because this is a very good doubt that you have also brought in. In case any specific change or something that is required, we'll make sure that we can communicate with all the participants.
Sumit says there are a few clubs who are using Microsoft Teams, and there is no breakout option for Microsoft Teams. So how does the contest management team manage that part?
Okay, fantastic. Now, in Microsoft Teams also, separate teams can be created for your that to be handled as breakouts. That's number one. Number two, in case you want to continue using the Microsoft Teams, there is no problem at all for your club level contest. It's absolutely your call as the club organizing committee. Only option that we can mandate as a district is usage of Zoom. So that's one part. So you individual breakout teams can be created. Breakout rooms can be created as separate teams and taken care of. There is a specific guidelines, video guideline also for that. I will share that with you. Ashwin has just shared that with me as well. So thank you, Ashwin, for sharing it with me. I will share that with you, Sumit, and whichever club is using Microsoft Teams, we could definitely share this particular video and ask them to go ahead and then create it. That's one part. All right. And it is definitely not mandatory for anyone to use, any club to use only Zoom. It's your call. We will recommend Zoom as a district, but from area onward, it's definitely going to be only Zoom till the district. That's
Arjun,
yeah, right. Sumit, Sumit, you're on mute.
yes. Arjun, do I have 2 more minutes? I have one more follow-up question to that on the
Yes.
same side. It's about the waiting room that's recommended to be there in the meeting so that no one comes in while the contestant is speaking. Now, Teams doesn't allow that as far as my knowledge is concerned. So that's one of the questions many of the clubs have. How do we stop that from happening? So if you have any suggestions or something, you can suggest.
That's true, Sumit. Now, that's the main reason why we as a district prefer using Zoom. And we as a district have gone ahead and brought in or bought Zoom licenses and shared with our clubs also to conduct regular meetings itself. All right. So for contests, we would recommend you to reach out to us and use this. Otherwise, we would have to stick to the restrictions that our respective online meeting tools have. There is no option with that part. And we would have to go ahead with that. Azhar, you wanted to add something, Azhar?
Yes. Again, regarding the point that you mentioned about using or the district provisioning the Zoom account. So there was one more question related to this. Is the district providing the clubs or any contests separate Zoom account, Zoom meetings? And how do we go about it to request for such?
You would have to reach out to your area directors there, because there are district has taken all top 8 officers have from the district have taken the Zoom Pro licenses to share with every single division, to be shared with the to be hosting their meetings. So some of the clubs have reached out to the district saying that they have these restrictions and that's why they would want to use the Zoom Pro license. And the district has gone ahead and then shared the created meetings. Now, again, the license credentials will not be shared with you. That is not supposed to be done, and this cannot be used for any other platform or meeting other than Toastmasters meeting itself. That's the protocol or the agreement with Toastmasters International, having bought this kind of a license. All right. Now, in case you need to organize, please plan your meetings well in advance. Reach out to your district officer and make sure that the meetings are scheduled timely. This is what
Yes.
I would.
So the more proactively you get it scheduled, the better it will be for you to do the management. So
Perfect.
that's
Perfect.
as clear as that. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
so,
you.
Those were the important questions we had. So
thank you.
Rest of the questions will be answered later.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. I just want to conclude with a small thing. Now there is DTM Usha Iyengar who pinged me just now and said, is it mandatory to use a specific tool for judging? There is no specific tool that we mandate as a district. It is completely the chief judge's call and comfort level there itself. All right. There are a lot of tools that are available. In simple terms, they can simply go ahead and then use a simple Excel sheet as well, or a Google Drive form. We will be discussing about these in detail during the judges training program. So this brings us to the end of the contest management training part of it. And I would want to leave each and every one of you with a small anecdote that is, I would say, change my thinking. Now, a few years back, I had gone to the US for a leadership conference. It was for a non-profit and Institute of Social Innovation, I would say. After the leadership training, I happened to spend some time in the US and went to Atlantic City. I was very much fascinated with poker because I used to play a lot of Texas Hold'em poker on Facebook. All right, and I wanted to see how the real game is. I wanted to try my hands on that. So I went near the poker table and was just observing how the entire game is played. There was one old man having his drink right next to me who was watching his wife play, and he said, "Young man, why don't you join the table and then play?" I'm like, "I don't know how to do so, because that's why I'm sitting and observing." And then he goes and says, "No, it's okay, go ahead and then play." Like a couple of games happened, I still did not sit, and I was just observing what was really happening. He's like turned to me, and then he was kind of furious at that time. He said, "Listen, young man, if you want to learn the game, play the game." And that really struck me at that point in time. I did sit in the very next hand. I did lose a couple of hundreds of dollars, but I did learn to play the game. If you want to learn the game, play the game is what is said. If you want to learn what it feels to organize a contest, if you want to learn what it feels to be a contestant, then you need to play as one. Ladies and gentlemen, good luck playing your game. Back to you, Azhar and Mini.
Let us hear a round of applause for our distinguished Toastmaster Arjun Sundar Raj for that amazing presentation. And thank you, Arjun, for demystifying the complexities involved in managing contests in such a simple way. Very hearty congratulations on that lovely attempt.